Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the big game week. Steve, the Hitman Scaladesi, joining myself, Andy Kaysen, for another wonderful episode of the Card Dog. Steve, what's good, man?
What's up, Andy? Man, what a big weekend coming up. What a big week for card sales. It's just an exciting time, man. It really is. It's the culmination of what we've been talking about all season.
So I got a message from you before the show that I think you said you sold like 7 cards yesterday.
Yeah, it was a good evening, and one of them came at like 12:05. So technically, it was today on one of them. But hey, who's keeping track, right?
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, there's a ton of hype going for a lot of players right now. So definitely one of the things we'll be talking about tonight is who is hyped the most by looking at my best ball 2022 best ball draft board that I've been doing a slow draft. And we're in the 9th round right now, and it includes 2022 rookies. We also are going to be doing some live Super Bowl betting on player over-under, some pick'ems on Underdog Fantasy. Because, Steve, this is probably one of the biggest weeks for sports betting the whole year. Wouldn't you say, Super Bowl week?
Yeah, you have anyone that doesn't even follow football that might be doing squares in their office pools and those kind of things, or maybe betting on the coin toss and all those other obscene kind of bets that you can do. So you have non-football people doing football things this week. So it really adds to it.
It certainly does, man. It certainly does. Look, we got a couple people in the chat. Honor for 55, rock and roll, brother. Joel Garza, what's good, man? The gaming guy, what's going on? Jackson, gaming god says, I've got a Joe Burrow select red field level die cut. Kind of tempted to hold it just in case he wins Super Bowl. I think that's been a big question on a lot of people's mind. Should you hold? Should you sell Joe Burrow? I think we dug into this topic pretty heavily earlier in the week. I did with Carter, who obviously is probably Joe Burrow's #1 fan. You and I dug into it last week, Steve, and I think the kind of consensus is you're holding some of the bigger stuff to see what happens, but you're selling a lot just because the hype is absolutely unreal right now, and his prices are the highest that they've ever been in his young career.
Yeah, it's a very gray area because you're talking about like the coming out party essentially for Burrow Mania, and you have to ask yourself. Look at where someone like Pat Mahomes cards are, right? Could they get to that level is the real question. Maybe, maybe not. And so that's kind of where you got to ask yourself, like, how much do you need the money right now, right? Because if you do, maybe selling now on quite a few of them is the way to go. And if you don't need the money, maybe put them up and, put them up above what they're going for right now and see if you get any bites. You know what I mean? Because I think that inevitably this is just kind of the beginning of the ascent,
That's what I'm a big fan of, is putting them up as buy it now so you don't have to worry about timing the auction ending perfectly. Speaking of which, guys, by the end of this episode, I'm going to be sharing one auction with you guys that ends tomorrow morning that I found today. That is an incredible snipe. You're not even going to believe this, Steve, what I found for you guys. So whoever sticks around to the live stream at the end is going to get this auction. I mean, obviously multiple people can get in on it, but it is ending in the morning. It's of a phenomenal player. In fact, it's of a player in the Super Bowl that could break out this weekend. So stick around there. Let's go ahead and pull up these pick'ems, Steve, because there is a really interesting special that Underdog has right now that is setting us up to win this weekend. I think we're going to be calling in the Card Dog. I think the Card Dog is going to be barking, man.
As he should be.
Yes, he should. We love it when that Card Dog barks, y'all. So we're here on UnderdogFantasy.com. If you're new to it, guys, they have best ball drafts. They got daily fantasy. They also have these player pick'ems where you can pick over under on specific players. And if you're new, you use promo code QUEST when you sign up, and that will get you 100% instant deposit bonus. You can deposit as much as $100 and you get $100 instantly. You can deposit as little as $10 and get $10 instantly. And then the first thing you want to do is come to the Pick'ems tab right here, and you can see that man right there, blinged out with a Nike chain, those fancy glasses that he likes to wear, the iPods, that nice jacket, that styling jacket, the turtleneck. And look at this, Steve, 1 passing yard for Joe Burrow.
I'm assuming that you're not going to be able to use that on multiple parlays, but the fact that they even offer it for 1 is pretty nice.
Yeah, it's wonderful. So once we use it, we're done. You can't use it more than once. So I think a smart strategy when using this special is to, maybe not go for the gusto and go for all 5 picks together to get the 20x. Maybe we just go for 2 picks together to get the 3x, or 3 picks for the 6x. Because it is, I'm just going to say it. It is impossible. It would never happen in any parallel universe. Joe Burrow passing for less than 1 yard in this game, in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he would have to get attacked by a fan coming out of the tunnel or something, right? Like that.
Yeah.
In which case, then he wouldn't play, and they would give you a push.
They push it.
Yeah,
they push it, and so then he just doesn't count. And if you won, they give you 50% of the winnings for the other one. So,
that's definitely a freebie.
Perry Collectibles in the house. What's good, Andrew? Yes, sir. I'm glad sports gambling is legal in New York. There's a lot of specials for the Super Bowl. The best ones, though, are here on Underdog Fantasy. We got the over on Joe Burrow. What else do you like in this game, Steve, when you're looking at these pick'ems here? There's quite a few. We talk about these single play pick'ems, total passing yards, 5.5 rushing yards on Stafford, 15.5 longest run for Cam Akers, 12.5 fantasy points for Cam Akers, and they've got rushing attempts. So you literally have a ton of different varieties. We've got 20.5 fantasy points for Cooper Kupp. And this is a half-point PPR. You don't get a full point. You do get a half-point PPR. Odell Beckham, 22.5 yard longest reception. Only 11.65 over-under for Odell Beckham on fantasy points. I find those very interesting. These pass attempts, 35.5 pass attempts for Joe Burrow, Steve.
I like that. I like the, believe it or not, I like the rush yards for Mr. Stafford. It was one of the first ones up at the top. That one looks pretty good. 5.5.
5.5. So as we're going through these, I want to ask the chat, guys, what's good? Raven, what's up, man? I want to ask you guys in the chat, Matthew Stafford rushing yards of 5.5 yards. Would you guys go over or under? Steve is saying go over. Is that what you said, Steve? Go over?
Mm-hmm.
We're going over on Matt Stafford's 5.5 rushing yards.
Yeah, if you looked at the end of the Chiefs game, they are putting a lot of pressure on the quarterback, and that means he's going to maybe have more ability, more attempts to be able to scramble for a couple yards. So I think that's a pretty safe bet.
Shooty had 6 rushing yards against Tampa Bay.
Yeah, and he's not known for his legs, but he can scramble a bit. He can run.
What's going on? Ascendium Aquila. Over Brady got more than that in their game. That's true. We just highlighted that. Joel says he thinks there are easier plays than Stafford rushing the ball. So what else do you got on this pick'em slip for me, Steve?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm a little bit weary of any of the running back plays for the Rams. And if you read any of the coach interviews today, they were talking about a 3-headed committee. So naturally, that's going to be a little scary because there's no way to know who's going to get how much action in the game. It's going to be a game flow script and
hot hand.
Yeah, hot hand. If Michelle's busting off 10-yard runs here and there, they're not going to pull them out of the game very often. So I would stick to maybe receiver plays and maybe more predictable picks for the Bengals.
All right. I totally dig that. I'm with you, especially after those 2 fumbles that Cam Akers had, the divisional game against Tampa. I think we saw a significant drop off in his carries. Is like he came out big time against Arizona. They gave him the additional workload opportunity against Tampa. Had a couple fumbles. They they found a way to squeak out that win against my Buccaneers, and then we saw the following week his opportunity go back down. We saw Sony Michel get more work. So yeah, I'm with you, man. I say we pass it all together. We know there's going to be some passing in this game. The referees tend to let the wide receivers duke it out, play it out, right? They don't call as many PI calls. So what are you feeling here on these Rams wide? Cooper Kupp's been doing it all year. Historic wide receiver season, right? And
Absolutely.
do we think he comes through again in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I don't see why not. The yardage play is, I mean, he's been doing it every week. So, I mean, it wouldn't be a bad play on the over. Now, I don't know if I like the fantasy points one nearly as much or the longest reception one, but the over on the yards, he's been pretty consistent in the over 100-yard range.
He has been very consistent over. Joel says Cup over 105. What's good? Brett Hallamar, he likes the under on Cup this weekend at 108.5. Are you liking the yardage, the fantasy points?
I like the yardage. Yeah, I like the yardage. I mean, the Bengals, their secondary played really good against KC in the second half, but historically throughout the season, they have been the weak point of the defense.
They have, haven't they?
I gotta also point out that the the profile pick they're using for Burrow is pretty epic.
It's epic, man. I love it. I love it. All right. You know what? This is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do because Cup 108.5 is a high number, Steve. And I think it could go either way. Don't you think this is like a coin flip? Like, wouldn't it be nice if we had a virtual coin we could flip right now to see?
We might have one of those.
We might have one of those, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. Oh, that is not a coin flip, but this is right here.
Yes, it is.
Over, under, let's spin. This is actually quite random, guys, because it spins for a second and then decelerates on a random axis, and where it lands. Let's go. Heads. What is heads? Is heads the... Oh, it looks like we're going under.
We're going under.
We're going under, man. That's it. The wheel called it.
I guess that's tails. I mean, heads would be over, I guess, right?
We're going under. Whoops, not on the yardage. We're going under on Cooper Kupp's total yardage.
The wheel of fate has spoken.
The wheel of fate has spoken. So,
let's check out. I'd love to look at a couple Bengals props.
I'm going against my initial logic of just guaranteeing a win with the Joe Burrow, but hey, this is why I'm the guinea pig here. You guys, play it safe. Guarantee yourself a little victory. We still may very well win. I'm feeling pretty good about this so far. Let's see what they got for Joe Mixon, Steve. We got 63.5 total rushing yards, 15.5 fantasy points, longest reception. I mean, Joe Mixon's a bell cow. Now, I did see Samaje Perine. He did have a pretty big play in the last game that it was just a screenplay. It was happenstance. It was just kind of that point in the game where Joe Mixon was out. He would have taken the same play to the house. I mean, Joe Mixon, an incredibly talented athlete. It's just a matter of, how often he's being used in the running game and if he's having to rest when they're doing a screenplay kind of thing.
Let's see. Rush yards, 63.5. That's not too bad of a number. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't think that's too bad of a number, but I feel like the game script in this scenario, it could right? Aaron Donald, Von Miller, they're bringing the heat. I think they do need to establish the run, Steve, and that's going to take some of that pressure off of Burrow. So I'm liking either the rushing yards on Mixon or just the fantasy points, because this is half PPR. I think Mixon could hit a total of 15.5 fantasy points. He's been doing half PPR fantasy points, 15.5. That's like, a subpar week for him this past season.
Yeah, I mean, you could make the argument that in order to hit that 15.5, he would probably need to get 63 rush yards, unless he got like 30 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns, which seems a little more unlikely. But the fantasy points, that's pretty reasonable too, especially with the PPR. How many catches is he getting a week? Maybe like 4 or 5?
Yeah, I think on average he's getting 4 or 5 targets, and yeah, you could see his average here the last few weeks has been 5. Yeah, really. I mean, 3, 6, and 4. So you're right at between 4 and 5, 4.5 receptions. I think he goes over in this one in terms of fantasy points at 15.5. They also have a Samaje Perine 8.5 longest reception and 13.5 receiving yards, man.
I saw one I liked. If you could mouse scroll up a little bit, it was a Mixon touchdown.
A Mixon touchdown.
Half rush plus receiving touchdowns. Now, does that mean he just needs 1 touchdown?
Yeah, he just needs 1 touchdown. Or not 1 touchdown.
I gotta say I think that's a good one, honestly. I mean,
that is a pretty good one. That is a pretty good one. I mean, he's gonna get the goal line work. He's gonna get, and he has not. He got that 1 touchdown. That's right, goal line against Tennessee. So it's good play, man. It's either that's how we do it. Let's do it.
Go for the 5.
Oh yeah, we got to go for the 5. We're going for the 5, man. We go big or go home.
It's Super Bowl weekend. It is, and this is the last week for player props until
it is
until next season.
It is. It's the last week for player props. But we got some wonderful best ball action, and the best ball is going to be very insightful for us card investor and collectors, people that want to collect on low and have those cards appreciate in value. Best ball is a fantastic format. We're going to talk about why exactly that is and what you can learn from it, and we're going to look at my slow draft here in a few minutes. Plus, we've got an incredible auction value by the end of this that we're going to share with you guys. Plus, we've got a couple other topics. We want to talk about some sets that are going to get more hobby love. So if you're just joining the live stream, say what's up in the chat, hit the like button. Steve, I think that Tyler Boyd is going to hit some overs on Sunday. It can't be a Jamar Chase show all Sunday. I got to think that Jamar Chase is going to be potentially bracketed, double covered.
What about the Boyd yardage? It was only 34.5 because CJ Uzomah, I believe, is injured.
CJ Uzomah is injured. He was questionable with the knee, and I don't think he was going to play because that was it was an MCL sprain.
And actually, also for the Rams, their starting tight end is injured, and it doesn't look like he's going to play.
Ooh.
Higbee.
I was talking to a big Rams fan the other day, and one of his favorite investment targets right now is Jacob Harris, who is actually, if you look at his athletic profile, and we'll talk about him in a little bit, but dude is a stud. The thing is, he barely played any college football. He didn't play in high school either. He was actually converted over, but the guy is an athletic phenom, and I think
an
we
Antonio
could see
Gates, perhaps.
Well, I think he's a little bit not as thick as Antonio Gates, but yeah, he is a baller.
But
Like
Gates was a
Antonio.
basketball player.
Yeah,
And
Gates.
Gates didn't play. I don't believe he played college football either, did he? Or if he
Mm.
did, it was very limited.
So Tyler Boyd, 7.5 fantasy points. Tyler Boyd, 17.5, 39.5 yards, receiving yards on Tyler Boyd. Which one do you like best? Or should we go with the wheel?
Now,
What do you guys think in the chat?
Yeah, let's see what the chat thinks. And if we go with the wheel, do we let the wheel decide which of those three props we use as well?
How about we go with the wheel on which one we do, and then we let the chat decide the over-under?
That works. Or the other way around. Either way.
Or the other way around.
I don't know if I like the longest reception one. If it was me, I would probably go with the receiving yards because he's not typically known for finding the end zone because he's not going to rush the ball. So then you're also gambling, is he going to get a touchdown? Or if he's not going to get a touchdown, that would mean he would need 75 yards, right? So I think I like the receiving yards. Whether you do the over-under is a whole different ball game, but I think that's the one you got to go with.
All right. Are you watching the chat, Steve? Because I am inputting the...
I am. What do you guys think? Over 39.5 or under 39.5?
Or we put all 6 variations you could possibly get on the wheel and we shuffle it and we spin it.
That's my kind of gamble right there. I like that, Andy. I really like that one.
Let's do it. I did it, man. I did it. I put all 6 options on the wheel. We got longest reception over under, receiving yards over under fantasy points over under. Let us spin.
This is my kind of bet right here, man.
It's decelerating, Steve. Oh, over. We're going over fantasy points. It's like the wheel's going against you tonight, Steve. This is the second time the wheel has disobeyed what you wanted to do.
Hey, but you know what? It's going to be fun either way, man. It's going to be fun either way.
And I believe...
on the flip side, it just takes one play, one broken coverage, and it can happen,
I'm maxing this one out. I'm putting in $25 on this slip, guys.
Yes.
I'm taking advantage of the 1 passing yards from Joe Burrow,
You're
5.5 rushing yards.
That's smart because if we do another sheet, which I'm guessing we probably will, we'll have to get 5 all the way right. I mean, we pretty much have 1 right on this one for sure, right?
We do. We've got 1 right, guaranteed. Boom. We're in, brother.
I think I think that the card dog will be barking on one of these 2 slips next week. He will be barking.
I would love to see it. We got to get him in here. Got to get him barking. All right. So there's the pick'ems. Maybe we'll do another slip later in the show. But right now, Steve, let's talk about the big board best ball draft, guys. This is what is so fun. Okay, so this was a $10 best ball tournament. And wait till you guys see the board. So what this is going to show us is where players are currently ranked going into 2022. So this is all based off of hype. This is all based off of hype for players going into 2022. You can see Jonathan Taylor, number 1 running back. Actually, I had the first overall pick. How could I not pick Jonathan Taylor? Do you feel like Jonathan Taylor should be the number 1 overall running back going into 2022?
Absolutely. But I already just at a quick glance can see some that I definitely don't agree with. So that I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah, this is wonderful because this is not necessarily where these guys are going to end up for the season, but this is a great indication of who's hyped right now, right? You can
Now
see
these
Cooper Kupp, number one wide receiver, taken off the board. Do you agree with Cooper Kupp going ahead of Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and Tyreek Hill?
I don't see how you couldn't agree with that. I mean, he's had an insane season, and he has a undoubtedly unique connection with his quarterback. With some of those other guys, you have a little bit of uncertainty, except maybe Tyreek Hill. Jamar Chase is one of many guys that gets the ball on his team, and Justin Jefferson, they don't necessarily know that he'll have the same quarterback next year. So I think Cooper Kupp is absolutely the best receiver selection.
And and that correlates directly with his rookie card values and his rookie card sales. He's the most demanded wide receiver next to Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase in the hobby right now. There's no doubts about it. The sales volumes, the sales records on eBay and other platforms speak for themselves. And you can see the transaction of Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase too. However, Cooper Kupp probably has about 1,500 different rookie cards out there, give or take. If you go to tradingcarddatabase.com and you filter out by 2017, look at Cooper Kupp. When you go to 2020, Justin Jefferson, he's got 3,088 different rookie cards available for him. So, and each one of those have their own print run, Steve. So some of them have a print run in thousands, tens of thousands. Other ones are ones of ones. But that's how many different variations there are. That's how much it's grown since 2017. So there's more availability for Justin Jefferson. So in comparable card to Cooper Kupp, Cooper's probably going to be a little bit more expensive right now. He's also in the Super Bowl. That kind of helps a little bit, right?
I gotta refer to a couple comments in the chat here and agree with them as to why Dalvin Cook and Devontae Adams appear to be missing from the board.
Dalvin Cook. Oh, you know why? Because this is not showing all the picks. You know what? I got to zoom out a little bit. Sorry, guys. You're not seeing the full board. You're seeing till the 9th pick. There you go. All right. That was a little better. It was zoomed in, so the names are a little bit bigger.
I was like, there's no way. No way.
So what I find fascinating, I don't know about you, but I see Christian McCaffrey still going number 3 overall, and maybe this is just this guy Cisco kid here, but do you feel that Christian McCaffrey should have been drafted that high over an Austin Eckler, over a Dalvin Cook, which I'll be honest with you, I'm actually trying to sell my Dalvin Cook. I'm trying to actually get out of Dalvin Cook. I'll be honest with you. I got a couple reasons for that we can talk about. Najee Harris, though, I'm more bullish on him in 2022 than Dalvin Cook.
I'd like to point out Joe Mixon being taken at 15. I mean, here's the thing with McCaffrey is if he stays healthy, which now he's had a little bit of a recent floundering of not being healthy, but I don't know, man. I agree with the chat. And if I had the 3rd pick, I'm not taking McCaffrey. Could he have third pick value? Absolutely. I don't think anyone would disagree with that. But the guy who got Cooper Kupp, I think, got a way better deal, in my opinion. The guy's been rock solid up to this date. Hasn't had any major injury issues. And then you have Javonte Williams going after Mixon. That's a little bit crazy to me because let's not forget he's still in a timeshare as of right now. Mixon, I wouldn't say is in a timeshare. DeAndre Swift, phenomenal pick at 19. I still am a bit not sold on Barkley, but I am seeing rumors that he could get traded to a contender type team where he would actually have a lot more value.
Yeah, he would have a lot more value there, and he's a stud, man. I think you're right on that. Is there anything else that jumps out at you about these first round selections? I see some people in the chat, Devontae Adams over Dalvin Cook. I agree with you there as well. I think that Devontae likely goes where Rodgers goes. And that makes him arguably up with Cooper Kupp, you know?
Kamara might get Ray Rice. Yeah, he might. Jamar Chase at the 6th pick, I'm not going to lie. The guy's had some incredible games. But I would take Devontae Adams over him still. And I would take Devontae Adams over Tyreek Hill also. If we're basing it on their career to date, maybe not. But if you're basing it on last season, or this season, I should say, you got to say that Devontae Adams has outperformed both of those guys. Jamar Chase had some insane games, but he's also taken a backseat to his other offensive counterparts like Higgins once in a while.
So, yeah. I see a comment here in the chat from Will about why I'm getting out of Dalvin Cook. This is why I'm getting out of Dalvin Cook, Steve. Okay, because Dalvin Cook has made the Pro Bowl each of the past 3 seasons and typically plays at least 70% of offensive snaps whenever he's healthy. So that means he is a bell cow. However, he's going to be 27 next season, which is it's on the fringe of being at the age apex for a running back. And we've also seen him struggle with injuries on a weekly basis. And the fact that Alexander Mattison saw nearly half of the passing game work for Minnesota this past year, including a lot of work in 2-minute drills, I feel like that they're going to be pulling the reins back more and more on Dalvin Cook. And as his age goes up and up, he loses that possibility of making a Hall of Fame type of running back run. He's losing that bell cow role because he can't handle it necessarily. And so Alexander Mattison has been proven to be competent. And I think that they're going to go to more of a running back by committee in 2022. And I don't think that warrants him to be going in the first round anymore. I would say he's a good value now in the 3rd or the 4th, not in the 1st.
If you look at the games that Madison has started, he statistically stands off the stat sheet, right? If you look at the games that Madison was in a very mediocre timeshare as like a change of pace guy, he didn't really have the same effect. So you can't really base it on like his overall season. But given the spot starts he's had, he's shown to be very effective, maybe even more than that. So I agree. I mean, that's not to say that Dalvin Cook is going to necessarily like fall off the edge of a cliff when he turns 27. It's not that simple, but I do see what you're saying, and that there is a typical, downtrend with most running backs that aren't named Adrian Peterson after the age of 27. So yeah, no, definitely. And again, I think that what I mentioned earlier about the quarterback uncertainty plays a huge part too.
Yeah, quarterback uncertainty. Now this right here is my favorite round, Steve, because what we saw last year, right now in the offseason, the ADP of a player, the average draft position of where they're going in fantasy football draft indicates the level of hype we have for them. So the guys that are going in 4th, 5th, 6th rounds, we're not as bullish on. However, those are the guys that tend to finish number 1 overall. That's where the number 1 overall guy comes from, or the top 3, top 5 overall guy comes from, i.e. Cooper Kupp, i.e. Deebo Samuel, right? And there's going to be guys from this area right here that overperform based on their current expectations, and that leads to a direct demand increase and value increase for their rookie cards. Who do you like best? Who kind of jumps off at you here in the 4th round, 5th round, or 6th round that you feel could potentially finish as a first rounder?
As a first rounder, let's see. Well, I'll tell you what, DJ Moore is interesting, and Calvin Ridley is interesting too. Now, obviously, with Calvin Ridley, he obviously has to play the game to to get you any fantasy points. But with DJ Moore, he came off huge the first 4 or 5 weeks this year, and then kind of like faded as after the running back and quarterback got hurt, kind of faded away. And he was consistent on a week-to-week basis. But when everyone was healthy, he was amazing. So I think that that's an interesting one. I don't necessarily think that he'll be a first rounder, but I think that's the right spot for him. Now, maybe like Mike Williams at 64, I think that might be a little bit high, personally, because he's kind of a question mark. We have no idea where he's going to go. He might go to a team with an inept quarterback. But a guy that I see on there that I think went maybe too low, Gabriel Davis.
I noticed that, man.
A
Seventh
guy that
round?
finished the season with 4 touchdowns and 250 yards went in the, sixth, seventh round? Seventh round, I think. After Robert Woods. After Robert Woods. Let me repeat that. After Robert Woods.
That's incredible. And see, that's the kind of thing you watch and you're like, okay, well, we know that this could be a specific draft anomaly. And so we want to look at like a few drafts to see where Gabe Davis's ADP is at. So like we could come in here and look at Gabe. I gotta spell his full name because I'm curious to see. Okay, so his current ADP is 70 overall. 70 overall. And looking at our big board, where did he go? He went 80 overall. So he went past his ADP. They're basically projecting him in average drafts. He's going somewhere around here, the beginning of the 6th. He fell to the mid 7th. And I think this person got him at a very good value, honestly.
What's interesting is if you remember our conversation 2 or 3 weeks ago, we talked about Gabe Davis, and you plugged Gabe Davis as a guy to get even a month or two ago. But in our recent conversation, you asked me what I thought, and I said, at some point, he will probably be the focal point of the offense, or at least command a higher target share, because the people ahead of him in the other receivers outside of Diggs are quite a bit older, especially Emmanuel Sanders. And it didn't take long for either of us to prove our opinion correct on that one. To think he's going to pull that kind of nonsense every week is absurd, but I think he proved that he can be that guy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I saw this question here from Brett Hallamore. Steve, think Debo will have less rushing carry? No, I think he'll have more in 2022. I think Kyle Shanahan's...
The coach has already said that they're not changing the way he's being used. So yeah. I would 100% agree with you.
Yeah, I think Kyle Shanahan absolutely loves using Debo Samuel in the running game, and they're going to run that bus till the wheels fall off.
I think Cordell Patterson might go down as like an outstanding player, but more so as like a guy that changes the way that receivers and running backs are used going forward. Because he was like, after him, it started to see other teams do it with other guys, and then Debo started doing it, and Debo maybe does it a little bit better, but Debo's Debo,
Debo is Debo. I see Joel calling out Devontae Smith. Yeah, I think Jalen Hurts is a guy that takes a big step forward in his career in his 3rd year. Not to the extent of Josh Allen, but yeah, I don't need him to take that step forward to the extent of Josh Allen did in his 3rd year. I just need him to take like, half of that step forward. For Jalen Hurts going in the 8th round, honestly, I thought about this after I drafted Rodgers. I'll be honest with you, my draft here is not, I'm not happy with it really very much because I got accidentally auto picked. I know 8 hours per pick, terrible that I did not get my pick in, and accidentally picked Ezekiel Elliott here in the 4th, and that wasn't my plan. Not terrible, but I picked Rodgers in the 7th, and did it really quick. And I should have looked a little bit better because honestly, I think I'd rather have Jalen Hurts with the rushing upside, the youth. I think Philly's going to add more support around him this offseason. I think he's going to have an even better year next year. And I'm very bullish on him. You can see how low he is, his ADP, all the way in the middle of the eighth round after all these guys. I mean, that means you can find some pretty cheap rookie cards of Jalen Hurts. We talk about him.
Yeah, and let's keep in mind that this is a fantasy football draft board. This isn't a NFL draft board. And
that's right.
Even when Jalen Hurts missed a week or two, he was still like second in fantasy points. This season. So like the guy is a stud. He's a fantasy football stud. I think he can be a NFL stud also. So I think that I'm not typically the guy that drafts a QB right away. And I know there's guys that are, but you can get a guy like him late and soak up some big wide receivers early on, man. That's how you win these things.
Very true. And I'm seeing some wide receivers down here that I absolutely love, man. Chase Claypool down here at the in the 7th round, the back end of the 7th. Rashad Bateman at the beginning of the 8th. Baltimore contract extension is not guaranteed for Lamar Jackson, but Bateman's got huge upside. Running backs are green squares, tight ends blue, wide receivers gold, quarterbacks purple.
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay, so that's you on the far left there. I was trying to make
yeah. Me in the 1st round here. I went Jonathan Taylor, Antonio Gibson, Terry McLaurin, Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard. I figured since I got Zeke, I'm gonna get Tony Pollard because this is a best ball format. There's no pickups, drops, ads. There's no roster changes at all after this draft is done. It's all the focus on the draft. They'll optimize your lineup for you on a weekly basis throughout the season. You automatically get the most amount of points per player on a weekly basis. So I don't have to worry about who's getting more opportunity. If Pollard gets more points that week than Zeke, then I'm getting the Pollard points. Or if they both blow up, then I'm getting both their points. So it's very smart when you're playing best ball. You want to stack your team and you really want to double down on specific teams. And so that's kind of what I did with Terry McLaurin, Antonio Gibson, what I did with Zeke and Tony Pollard. And I'm hoping in a the perfect world, Aaron Rodgers goes to Denver, Jerry Jeudy stays in Denver. That would kind of make my dreams come true.
Yeah, that would be a nice combo pick for you there. I think that you kind of did it on accident with the 2 running backs from Dallas, but I think that a league like this where there's no pickups, not to say to take them early, but I think drafting running back handcuffs is that much more important. If you have both guys and one goes down in the 1st quarter with a hamstring, let's say like that guy that took what's his name, Christian McCaffrey, if he doesn't take Chuba Hubbard later, he's going to be in a seriously bad situation if something were to happen.
Very true, man. Very true. He's going to be in a bad situation. And you're going to miss out on potentially a lot of points because you look at a team with a good offensive line, good offensive schemes. They're going to establish the run. They're going to run the ball. It makes so much sense. And why risk, when you look at Tony Pollard's ADP, why risk going another 24 picks to get that? Go ahead and get him right away. Make sure you got that, on your team. You locked it down.
How do you feel about Lamar getting picked over Joe Burrow? Oh, wait, no, I'm looking at it backwards. How do you think about Kyler getting picked over Joe Burrow?
Yeah, Kyler got picked over Joe Burrow based on his rushing upside. Lamar Jackson went 2 picks after Burrow. Mahomes still went way up here at 35. Josh Allen, number 1 overall. So that's very interesting. Real quick, Steve, all I'm going to say about this is I think that Joe Burrow should be higher. I think that people don't give him enough credit for the mobility and the speed that he's got with his legs. I think he's faster than what a lot of people think.
And I think that he's really dialed in with his receivers now.
Mm-hmm.
And you can an air raid any week can happen with those guys. I mean, there's just too much skill on that team to and not to mention, look what happened with Kyler in the playoffs, and look what happened with Kyler after the playoffs. Deleting all of his Cardinals related stuff on social media. So there's a lot of question marks there.
Lot of question marks, man. What do you guys think in the audience? Who do you think should be drafted higher this upcoming season in 2022? Joe Burrow or Justin Herbert? Because they're, comparable draft class. Also, they got the same amount of rookie cards out there available. I find that's very, very interesting because Justin Herbert's scenario, he's fantastic. He's amazing, right? I'm not sure what his wide receiver core is going to look like in 2022. I've heard some rumors, some very interesting rumors about what's going to happen, but he definitely needs to get a little bit of help in that department. Elijah Moore. Looks like the consensus is on Justin Herbert going over Joe Burrow.
Interesting. I mean, I think if you end up with either of those guys, you'd probably be pretty happy. I'm going to take the Burrow choice given that opportunity. And let me share a little personal story if you don't mind.
Yeah.
2 seasons ago, 2020, on my keeper team, I had Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert. And I had to make a choice, and I kept Burrow. Now, this was before Herbert went Herbert Mania and sold everyone on him being the next guy. But literally talk about a good position to be in to have both of those guys, right? So I don't regret my decision, but I would still go with Burrow. I think that his value is still kind of climbing, right?
I think his value is still climbing in terms of fantasy. I think it is important to see guys talking about fantasy versus real life. Yeah, Burrow has proven to be a winner, right? Clutch situations, he figures out a way to win. But you're probably right from a fantasy standpoint, man. It's gonna be really close. But Justin Herbert is just an animal.
Do you have just out of curiosity, maybe you could pull up fantasy-wise where they finished this year? I'd be curious to know what the point differential between them was.
Yeah, we can. I'll definitely pull that up because I do find that very interesting. Let's see here. Filter between a player, Joe Burrow. All right, so
And Burrow Mania kind of started like the last couple weeks of the season. So,
all right, so total fantasy points, Joe Burrow finished with 330 points per dropback, 0.56. Now let's look at Herbert. I'm pretty sure Herbert, beat him pretty good. 385 fantasy points, total fantasy points, 0.52 per dropback. So interestingly enough, very close per dropback, but Justin Herbert had a good 50 points on him.
very interesting. I wonder, I bet if you compared like the last 6 games of the season, it would be a lot closer.
Yeah, I think it would too. So I am going back to the chat here. What's going on, Pizzo? What's up, man? Drew Easy does it. Herbert Stud's still trying to get some of his optics. Yeah, optics, man. Those rated rookie logos are incredible. Picking up Herbert low pop stuff.
This is definitely a little bit of a window to get some Burrow cards. I agree. His cards are certainly not cheap, but this may be as cheap as you'll get them going forward.
You mean Justin Herbert?
Oh,
Or
excuse me,
did you?
Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk a little bit about rumors and speculation, because that could shake a guy up. That could put a 6th-round guy into the 2nd or 3rd round, Steve. Are there any rumors or speculation? What's your favorite rumor or speculative move right now going on in the NFL? Guys in the chat, I want to hear from you guys as well. What's your favorite speculative rumor of a move going on right now in the NFL? Let us know.
I mean, one that we kind of talked about in the Discord recently with Kyler. Uh, that's a bit. I mean, that is a earth-shattering situation for a lot of different fantasy players. Whether it's Christian Kirk, DeAndre Hopkins, and the man himself. Let's not forget, and for those that don't know, the man got drafted by the major leagues, and could have played baseball. So I think that him either getting traded or deciding to go play baseball is at least something that he's thinking about, because for him to wipe his social media clean of anything Cardinals relevant is kind of telling. Now, it could be a contract negotiation tactic, but I personally have been buying a lot of his stuff in the past few weeks because it is down, down, down. But that has a massive effect on a lot of players' cards.
I did hear this on Fantasy Footballers podcast. Thanks to James in our Discord server. He posted up like, this is how the young kids negotiate contracts these days. He's sending, silent messages to the Cardinals front office that he wants more money. However, I will be the devil's advocate to Kyler and say, yes, do you really want to win though? Because if you really want to win, then you may want to consider the Tom Brady type of contract. And I don't understand why some of these players want an extra 20, 30 million when they're already making millions of dollars. And it's like, why not try and structure it to where you can get better offensive linemen, better defensive players, better wide receivers, better running backs, and just have a better team holistically? Or does he feel like Cliff Kingsbury is holding us back big time, so I don't see us winning anyways, because we're going to flame out at the end of the season, so just pay me?
I was a big advocate for Michael Thomas getting the contract that he got, because he was one of the lowest paid receivers in the league for the output that he had. But I think that's a lesson for teams and coaches, that sometimes these guys get the money that they want, but they don't decide to play football after that, or play at the same level anymore. And if it's me and I'm running that team, I'm not going to get bullied by a guy that just, crapped the bed in the Super Bowl. I mean, a lot of that, you can't put 100% of it on him, but I'd put a lot of it on him. I mean, he looked terrible.
Yeah, it was definitely a twofold combination. It was, there was mistakes. You could see mistakes there from Christian Kirk. Let's see what the chat's got for us here in terms of rumors. Carl, what's good, Carl? What's going on, man? Hoping he's appreciate Justin Herbert. Dan Fouts, dual autos. That's cool, man. That's really cool. Some Herbert quickly becoming a Chargers legend. Dan Fouts, man. Old OG. Drew Easy Does It says Russell Wilson out of Seattle. Yeah. Hey, I'd love to see him in a Buccaneers uniform. Let's go.
I got a good one for you after the chat.
Okay. Let's see what Carl's got. Tom Brady goes. Oh my God. Dude, I think I'm gonna throw up. Tom Brady goes to the Steelers.
With that line, he would get murdered, dude.
You guys want to see me cry on YouTube, then yeah, send Tom Brady DMs, tell him to go to the Steelers. Rodgers to the Broncos, yeah, I mean, Rodgers has got to be one of the biggest, if not the biggest, storylines of this offseason. Speculation, rumors. Russell Wilson, yeah, Russell Wilson. Oh, yeah, the NFL honors are tonight. So shout out to Jamar Chase, Offensive Rookie of the Year. I saw TJ Watt got Defensive Player of the Year. Jamar Chase coming in with the awards tonight. And Jets Crazy says Derek Carr out in Las Vegas is very interesting for the QB market if McDaniels moves on from him. Yeah, they got Marcus Mariota behind him, but Marcus Mariota is set to be a free agent this offseason. I think that something is going to be shook up in Las Vegas. Steve, what you got for me?
Now, this is a very soft rumor, but intriguing. And I think that that's kind of what builds hype, right? A lot of people are uncertain, including the Buccaneers organization, about will Gronk play with Brady not there, right? In an interview today or yesterday, he said that he'd love to play with Joe Burrow.
Really?
Now, wouldn't that be amazing? You want to talk about some card hype? Could you imagine, as if Gronk's cards for a tight end aren't valuable enough, sending him to that offense would be insanity.
Dude, that would be insanity. And Joe Burrow would certainly utilize him quite a bit. I'd be buying the heck out of Gronk. Or I already love Gronk. And I think he's a phenomenal investment. So if his card, it's to be interesting. I'm curious actually. I'm gonna pop over to eBay. I want to look up Gronk's rookie cards because I am very curious to see what we got for.
Interesting too. A guy we've talked about recently. With the gentleman in the chat mentioning the Rookie of the Year honors and the Defensive Player of the Year honors. I looked at the list of candidates and I was quite shocked to not see Robert Quinn on there for a guy that just barely got beat out by TJ Watt for sacks and not even to be mentioned on that list. I thought was pretty crazy.
Yeah, not even to be mentioned. I know he was second or third in total sacks, right?
Yeah, let's see where he finished. I know that he was like one short at some point, but then TJ Watt had like two in the last game. So let us see. Let's see tackles.
I'm going to look at what's been selling lately for Gronk. I'm not seeing a lot of bids. I'm seeing people, have a lot of pride in their Gronk cards, but I'm not seeing a ton of bids. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about right here. This is a base tops, but only for $10. I mean, it's a 2010 card. Let's see, PSA 9 over 100 Chrome. So that's still pretty solid.
I've seen a couple serial numbered auto ones go for like $250. That same card you pointed out that went for like $10. There was one a few listings below it that was like $25.
I've noticed that, even though Gronk is a legend, locked for the Hall of Fame, the tight end market in general is still underappreciated, undervalued compared to wide receivers. And I think that ultimately is going to change. I think the tight end market as a whole is going to continue to go up. Guys like Mark Andrews, guys like Dallas Goedert, I think those guys are going to continue to go up in value, and kind of Gronk has kind of paved the way for those guys in a lot of ways, as well as we talked about Antonio Gates earlier, Tony Gonzalez, some other big tight ends. I'm still seeing some solid values, but I think that there's definitely a lot of room. Like I've seen his cards higher in the past than this right here.
What's interesting about that is I agree with Joel, invest in Pitts. What's interesting about the tight end position is it used to be that there was only a handful of guys in the league that could be used as a receiver and would stockpile yards and touchdowns. But it seems like as time goes on, there's more and more of those guys, and the tight end position is being utilized more and more as a receiver, and that's really what generates hype: touchdowns, yards, scoring plays. No one's like, "Hey man, did you see that block did you see that block he put on for the running back? That doesn't make the
Yeah.
reel, and that doesn't sell cards. But as they start using more and more tight ends in the receiving game, that's when the market opens up. And I can't wait till more people get excited about tight ends.
Check out this comment right here from Isaac Estrada. What's good, Isaac? I have not seen Isaac in the chat before, so everybody please give Isaac a warm welcome here on the quest. Isaac has got a very bold take here. This is interesting. This is one of those big rumors because Brady hasn't technically announced that he's retired behind a podium on camera, and so there's speculation that he's trying to get out from the Bucs and go to the 49ers. Oh my God. I'd be devastated. I'd be devastated. So, guys, at this point in the live stream, all right, at this point in the live stream, I'm going to share with you an extremely good value auction here in just a couple minutes. But first, I want to talk about something, Steve, that you and I were talking about before the show because it's very interesting. Give me a card set that you feel is undervalued in general that deserves more hobby appreciation, more investment appreciation.
Yeah, I can think of a couple off the top of my head, and we've talked about Spectra quite a bit. Spectra is just incredible looking card. There's so many of them. Like most of them that you find are serial numbered. They have some RPAs. It's actually been out a lot longer than I was even aware of because I started looking to what other cards can you find in a Spectra, and I believe it goes back to 2014 at least for sure because I know there's a couple Devontae Adams rookies in Spectra, and another one I really like is I want to say it's called Unparalleled, and they don't make it anymore, but it's a great looking card, undervalued, and you can find guys like Deebo Samuel, Kyler Murray. I think it's 2017 to 2019 was the last year that they did the Unparalleled. There might even be a 2020 set, but it's a great looking card, and I think it's underappreciated for sure.
Mm. Yeah, I've always really liked Spectra. It's definitely grown on me here in 2021. And for some reason, you're right, the cards go very undervalued, and a lot of them are serial numbered. Like even though this isn't color matched, I mean it's a rookie card. It's Rondale Moore. He's super explosive. He's under a rookie contract, so he's going to be there for a little while. Look at the refraction on it. You got the scope design in the background, those kind of artistic swirls, different colors, green, numbered out of 35. It's only at $5 right now with 0 bids. So yeah, I do feel that Spectra in general has been undervalued for quite a long time.
I think that they've only been making the cards more attractive looking over time, so that may generate over time that may generate more interest in the older sets, if you will.
Yeah, it could, and they're thick card stock. I think a lot of uh, investors have always just viewed this as like a collector's type set. As I know, almost all collectors, and I'd love to get you guys' opinion in the chats if you guys like Spectra or not, because if nobody else likes Spectra but us, then our theory is going to be way off, and then we're just we just like the look of them. But if everybody else likes Spectra too, that means at some point in the future, Spectra cards are going to go up in value, like you're saying, Steve. Prior years, current years, they're making them look good. People are going to want to collect them, and if people are going to want to collect them, then they're going to hold investment value. So yeah, I mean, look at this Elijah Moore. Here you go. Jets crazy, numbered out of 149, silver prism Elijah Moore right now. That's only $3.25. It's numbered out of 149, so you're guaranteed the print run of that card as well. I like that.
Yeah, I've gotten some incredible deals on the new Spectra rookies, and some of them numbered as low as 25 or 99, and it's just a beautiful card. I think it will catch on at some point. Not to say that there's not any interest in it, but there's definitely, in my opinion, a less interest than there should be in the product, especially with the fact that we've yet to see an optic, a prism, a contenders release. In my opinion, there should be just that much more interest in this set.
And we got a recommendation here in the chat from Joel. Joel actually dropping a nice little couple knowledge bombs here. Spectra's all serial number based rookies are out of 149. And that's freaking phenomenal, man. I love that. His eBay tip from him is to look for auctions that have been going for a while with no bids, but accept offers. Some sellers will give a good deal. I think that's a wonderful idea. You see 0 bids, a seller's got to be nervous. Like, what if I don't get a bid? Then I'm not going to sell this card. I was trying to force a sell, trying to make some money, and they could potentially have that accept offer button and go ahead and, while there's a couple hours left on their auction, go ahead and accept an offer that's much lower than what that card potentially would have ended at, because a lot of us, we're waiting till the last second to reveal our hand, our highest bid, and what we want to pay for that card. So as a seller, you really kind of, sometimes you may be sweating it out at the last minute. And I'm sure some sellers don't like to sweat it out like that.
Definitely not.
What do you think about Illusions Hobby? So I see this here. I'm going to type in Panini Illusions Hobby football. Any specific year, Joel? Wow. Oh, Joe Burrow got comeback player of the year. Oh, yeah.
You know what's really nice from that set is the cards of the rook. I think they did it for the rookies. They may have done it for all players, but the really low serial numbered ones. Like I have a Cole Kmet from the Bears. It's like out of 7, and it's got like a black cracked ice look.
Here's a Joe Burrow 2020 Illusions Hobby Pink Trophy Collection parallel, numbered out of 399. See, this is really interesting, right? This is ending Sunday night at 8:08 p.m. Currently 99 cents, only one bid. Is this the kind of card you saw? This is serial number 399 is not bad. I do like that this is clearly a picture from a game. And he's running with the ball. He's trying to find Jamar Chase, T. Higgins open down there. And then they've got the portrait in the back, which I always think is really cool. It reminds me of Flair Showcase from back in the 90s, a set that I collected quite a bit of back in the 90s as a kid. So in that sense, I do like these cards. In the hobby ones, like Joel mentioned, they're thicker. They have a thick card stock. You can see the clear difference. I think they're nice cards, man. I'm curious to see what this ends at.
Yeah, that's a good price on that one.
Right now, right?
Right now. I mean, that's a good price on that anytime, realistically, but especially right now.
Here's a Davis Mills set. Buy it now, $9.99. Oh, here's the same one that's got only 17 hours left, ending tomorrow. It's currently at $41. That's a photo variation too. Wait a minute. Pink Trophy Collection parallel, numbered out of $3.99. Pink Trophy Collection parallel number. What? There are 2 different photo variations in the same. This has got to be a different card. Somebody had their listing wrong, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because this almost, that looks purple right there.
Well, yeah, he's facing right on one and he's facing left on the other one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's facing, check that out. I mean, but they're both calling the card the same thing. Pink Trophy Collection parallel, numbered out of $3.99. Pink Trophy Collection parallel, numbered out. One of them's not a Pink Trophy Collection parallel, I'll tell you that. Or unless there's no way they did different photos for different serial numbers. I haven't seen that in anywhere.
Yeah, Joel nailed it in that one. No rookie card logo on the first one. So somebody mislisted a 2021.
Oh, there it is. Intentional or unintentional, I wonder.
I would say probably unintentional. I mean, I've seen even big accounts lately uh, putting up cards for like uh, Joe Mixon, let's say, that's like, oh, they're like Joe Mixon rookie, and it's clearly a 2020 card, and it's like mistakes happen. You don't see a ton of it, but I look at way too many auctions over the course of the day, so it does happen.
Well, there you go. But I mean, hey, that's something that details matter, especially in sports cards, and that's probably why this seller has less than 100% positive feedback. I mean, I get it. That can happen. Maybe this is totally unintentional. Probably was, but I'm saying they should be more conscious of how their listing is labeled. Um, well, see, what's interesting is he even goes to the extent of putting RC when clearly there's no RC and you got a 2021 card. So that kind of tells me, all right, man. And
I
he's
think
got the auction ending Sunday night. So I'm like on the fence here whether or not I think this person is a douchebag or not.
yeah, you know, whether the guy did it intentionally or not, I just think as a seller, you know, it's kind of your responsibility to make sure that what you're listing is correct. So if you're using another card's template that looks the same or similar for your listing, and you know in your mind it's a 2021, just change the 2020 to 2021, and everything else is the exact same. The serial number is the same. The pink trophy collection is the same. To change the year, it's really not that time consuming.
Yeah, they could have potentially copied from a template. Well, okay, Joel's trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, I do. I find it hard they made a mistake on Joe Burrow. The jury's out on that one. I think we're torn on that one. All right. All right, Steve. So it's now time in the live stream for me to share with you and everybody else what I think is an incredible snipe opportunity. And I love this auction. And one of the best things about it is this auction ends tomorrow morning. So this person was very ambitious last Friday, but this person, the seller, did not understand the fact that ending your auction at 10 a.m. on a Friday is a bad idea if you want to capture the most amount of eyeballs. In fact, this card has 0 bids on it right now. Are you
Wow.
ready for it, Steve? Are you
Let's
guys
take a look.
ready for it?
Let's have a gander.
I get a little bark in for this one to hype it up. All right, I'm dragging it over.
Whoa.
Boom. It is a rookie ticket auto, on card auto, T. Higgins, a guy that could go absolutely nuclear this weekend in the Super Bowl. This card's currently at $29.99 with 0 bids, ending tomorrow morning at 9:53 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This card, do you know what this card sells for on average for a guy hyped up as much as Justin Jefferson or CeeDee Lamb or well, I'm trying to think of other 2020 rookies, but those cards for Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb are over $100 all day long. Jonathan Taylor over $100. Even some guy, Gabriel Davis. When Gabriel Davis blew up in that game against the Kansas City, when Gabriel Davis blew up in that game, I'm having a brain fart. His card went up to over $100 for his rookie ticket auto, on card auto. The base variation, I think people have more loyalty to this base rookie ticket auto variation than they do the optic and all the other fancy parallels, because this one is tried and true, and it is the OG is basically what I kind of like to relate it to. I think this auction right here is a home run play, Steve.
And as nice as the optic ones look, particularly with the uniform color, the white and orange is really nice.
Yeah, the orange and
There's a
white with
lot
the
of white on
uniform
the
color.
uniform too, like
It's
on his pants.
fantastic, man. is fantastic. And with the fact that Jamar Chase could draw Jalen Ramsey and double coverage, T. Higgins is a monster at contested catches, getting open deep. Um, Man, I mean, we saw him have some incredible catches in some very, very clutch moments against Kansas City in the championship game. So, I mean,
A guy like T. Higgins too is unique because he doesn't have to be open to make a great catch. You know, he can
yeah,
catch it in the middle of the field. He can catch it on the sidelines in traffic. He, you've been plugging him all year, and I still think he's undervalued in my opinion.
yeah, I think he's still undervalued. I think this should be close to $100 card. T. Higgins blew up in what was that? That was I believe it was week 16, Steve. T. Higgins went off against the Ravens. Sorry, Raven, if you're out there, if you're watching this, plug your ears. T. Higgins went off for like close to 200 yards, and he had 3 or 4 touchdowns. I can't remember a specific stat line, but he went off, man. And T. Higgins' value shot up overnight, and I sold. I doubled my money on some non-color match. There was a blue rookie ticket optic rookie ticket auto that I doubled my money on. Ended up selling it for $75. So I could easily see this card based on the scarcity and how big of a game T. Higgins could potentially have. This could be a flip opportunity for somebody here just next week. And it's got 0 bids right now. So wanted to share that home run play with you guys right there. We share a lot more of these on a daily basis in our Discord server. You guys can get access to that over at patreon.com/footballcards. Steve, this has been a fun live stream, man.
Absolutely, man. Covered a lot of different stuff and a lot of different input from the chat and some great predictions on our behalf. I'm excited about it, man.
Show me that T. Higgins MVP. Hey, dude, it could happen. I'm going to pull up Joel's gold out of 10 optic rated rookie PSA 9 T. Higgins. That's what my man Joe knows what's good. Let's pull this up before we get out of here. We got to go out on some gold.
While you're looking that up, I know you and what's, man, I'm driving a huge brain fart. On your other show, you do like the hobby tip of the day at the end. So I'm gonna
with
just
Carter. Carter.
Carter. I'm gonna throw a random hobby tip of the day out for myself because this just happened today, and you know this has happened to me before too. I had a Burrow optic prism, right? Not the color match, but a hollow, blue hollow, and the gentleman bought the card, sent the offer, and I sent the invoice, the next day, and he contacted me a bit earlier to let me know that he wasn't going to pay for the card. Have a blessed day was how he ended the message. I was like, there's no other way to say go F yourself than to do that. So luckily I had a lot of other offers on the card, which I'm going to, now accept. But that's so scummy, man, to do that.
Incredibly scummy.
So the hobby tip is the guy had 100% positive feedback, but he had very few transactions. So I was a bit leery when I saw that myself. So just know when you're taking a offer from a guy that has 3 positive feedbacks, it's still a bit nerve-wracking because he hasn't been very active.
Check out Joel's card right here, 2020 T. Higgins. And it's not just a regular optic, because if you know Joel, then he's been talking about these optic previews for a long time, man. He's been talking about these optic previews for a long time because they are more rare. Well, this one incredibly rare because it's numbered out of just 10 with the rated rookie logo and the man, Mr. T. Higgins on it. It's a sick card. Graded to PSA 9. That's a nice card, Joel. Very nice card. I'm going to save you up here, sir.
Very nice. I love me some optic previews, man.
All right, guys. If you're still watching, you haven't subscribed to the channel. If you like this style of content, hit that subscribe button, bell notification icon so you don't miss any action. We've got new videos in the works being released tomorrow. Potentially some mail action this weekend. I got a few. Actually, mail person came in clutch today. I got like 4 or 5 new packages in today. I'm excited to share that stuff with you guys. So we'll see you in that next one, and we'll be back next week, Steve. We're going to start digging into more 2022 rankings, best ball action, and all stuff football cards, man. It's been a fun show.
For everyone still out there, the real digging happens in the off season. Don't forget that.
That's very true, man. Very, very true. So we'll see you next week. Do more digging. Peace. That was a countdown to end the show. I'll have to have another video that parlays off of that one to end the show, to take us out, man.
That's right.
Who do you think is going to win MVP? Give me a bold prediction.
We're talking about next year? This year?
No, Super Bowl. Super Bowl
MVP.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping it's Burrow, so I'm going to go with Burrow, and I think they're going to win as well.
Yeah, I hate to be like jumping on the bandwagon, so to speak, but I have been believing in Joe Burrow since week like 16 or 17, like hardcore, like became a believer in his path to destiny here. And I do believe that Joe Burrow is going to come out of this game as Super Bowl MVP as well.
And if you dress like that walking into the stadium, you win football games.
There you go, man. There you have it, people. Peace.